And there goes the live stream. Howdy doody, ladles and jelly spoons.
Okay, looks like that was a little
Facebook
clearer.
Live is coming up. There you go. We should
there it is.
be live
I
on
am seeing
Facebook.
so hard. Now I gotta figure this thing. There it is. There's the little button at the bottom. Yeah.
Krangus is giving out good directions on how to
go.
share the post if you're watching it. He's our one whole viewer at the moment. Which how's it going? Welcome to Burning the Set List. Joining us today is Mr. Krangus Gillespie. Thank you for being here, sir. How you doing, man?
I'm pretty good. I just pooped right before we got on, so
Nice.
and a little sumo's hibachi.
Yeah, that'll run right through you, man. All that MSG.
Yeah. I'm hungry again though, so
That's how it works. Governor has his plant as always.
What?
It's looking
Yeah,
good. Does the plant have a name yet, Governor?
Robert Plant.
Should be.
It's called Petra Crouton. There you go.
Oh yeah.
I go by the biological name.
You would, you Brit.
In 2005, you would have been canceled for being unpatriotic.
Yeah, for sure.
All my jokes are older than 2005, so I'm good.
Well, of all the places to start, I guess we should start with our trip to Anniston. Wind the clock back.
God.
The last time we were all together in one place, it was Anniston, Alabama.
That was it. That was the last time we were all together, huh?
If I'm not mistaken.
At the buffet.
Yeah, at the buffet on the way out of town.
Where we yelled at a comedy club owner. Well, you did, Compton.
I did. I told him he should
I don't work
fire.
with that guy anymore, so I'll totally shit on him. I don't care.
Yeah, I've heard bad things, so no need. Actually, it did come up on like the first episode. Anyway.
You guys, Jacob Craig? Because I brought him back. I brought Jacob with me up there.
Yeah,
We should probably just talk about the whole weekend before talking about what we think about it.
How did your weekend with Jacob go up there?
It was, I mean, the guy, the club owner booked, like, I brought him as an opener, and the idea from the club owner was that, I think you're good, I'm going to promote this show myself. I was like, all right, because I don't know anybody up there. So I bring Jacob along, you know, he was a guy that I liked down here. He was pretty cool on the road. Yeah. And we get up there, and basically the guy triple booked, so he told 3 different people they were going to be headlining the show.
Nice.
I'm smart. It kind of can't, you know, that like meme with the 3 Spider-Men pointing at each other. It became that outside. Like, I was the smart one and went, look, like, which one of us brought the most people? And it was this one guy. It was apparently this guy's first time ever going up, but he brought 20 people. So I was like, I don't care that I have more experience. He brought all the people. Let's let him headline, and then that worked out. It ended up being a good show, but the other headliner that was supposed to be there was kind of pissed. I was like, I mean, like, because the only other thing that would have happened was they would have, like, his friends and family would have just walked out with him while he went to smoke a cigarette, and then the show would have been over. So that's the smartest option.
That's what always happens.
You got all the crowd. That's right.
That's always what happens.
I mean, you could call yourself headline as long as you're there and you still get paid. You're good to go, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I still did get paid, but it caused a whole thing that didn't need to happen. And but that's only I got paid because I always make sure that I text people the information. You know, that way I can be like, look, here it is. You agreed to this. But the other headliner, I think it was a verbal agreement, and I don't think they got paid, and it was just a whole mess, dude. Like, there were tears that night. Not for me. I walked out of it, but
there were tears.
Yeah, there was tears. There was tears.
Nice.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
I do remember telling that guy, yelling at him to fire his best friend. That was. It felt good with breakfast. It did.
Yeah, his friend wasn't that good. I think he knows that. I think he knows that his friend's a bit of a.
Speaking of when we were up there, if you remember, it happened to all of us, but their idea of a show was they had 3 of us, and instead of just having like a open middle headline, they just wanted us to do like this weird round robin thing
to keep going.
Which, especially for somebody like me, where I have a very structured hour, it's like, all right, this is dumb. And like, it was supposed to be, I think, or the governor that was going to headline it. So it ended up being that thing. But then the problem was like, I was doing a setup for the joke, and the DJ, who's like the club owner's friend, is literally hovering around this table that's trying to watch a show and like talking to him. Like, yeah, this is pretty good, right? I'm like, I don't need a fucking Mystery Science Theater 2000 narrator while I'm doing my jokes. I'm already the funny one. I don't need you.
People that try to be cocktail waitresses and have no idea how to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, that place. Yeah,
Buffet,
so
though.
I'm not going back there anytime soon. That Chinese buffet was really good. The number one Chinese buffet. It was.
Yeah, I like that
was
breakfast we had. It was good.
I was talking about that Sizzler's place that we went
The
to.
Sizzler's place, yeah, that was really good.
Dude, there was a lady that cut me off in Sizzlers. I was not happy.
Outrageous.
She did.
People got shit to eat, bro.
Dude, and she used my kilt. She used my kilt to cut me in line. She came up, she complimented it, and then she ended up in front of me. It was like that.
You don't get between the women and their meat, dude. Come on.
Her dress was cuter, so it was an act of aggression.
I'm sure. Speaking of acts of aggression, you mentioned last night, or when was this? Had a kind of hostile moment during the show.
Oh, the block party.
Do you want to tell that story?
Yeah, so I just as much as this one thing happened, the whole night was awesome, man. Like the downtown Biloxi area, like I've been partnering with them for the past few months trying to plan this block party. It was great. Like all the businesses got involved, and they built this whole staging area downtown with like this nice green area and a nice stage. We had all the bands around town, and basically we had a nightmare situation for comics where we had to like go in between musicians.
Mm-hmm.
But it was I found out really quick that it was like, we have to be clean. So, but I was like, I still did the clean stuff. I mean, this was like from noon to 9 p.m. So just going up in between bands, hosting. And by like 8, I'm going up and I'm about to bring up the last band, and which is Blackwater Brass. And there's still a few kids, but everybody is wasted. They went through by the time 3 p.m. hit, they had already gone through 11 full-size kegs of beer at this thing. So we're talking like 500 people at this block party. And of course, nobody, like the front row was kind of engaged with the comedy, but everybody else is like, I don't care about comedy. So I'm trying to, at this point, everybody's so drunk. And one old lady came up while my microphone was in my hand to dance with me. And I'm kind of playing it cool. And like I could tell her bones are all weak. Sorry, my computer's on my knees. Yeah. I could tell her bones are all weak. So I'm like, all right, just go sit down. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to start my set. This old guy comes up and just wants to take the mic to do a set, I guess. And I was like, dude, go sit down. And I think what I said was, the way that I said it was, guys, give it up for this fucking guy. I said fucking. Like, it was like a very in-passing fucking. And nobody cared. Again, everybody was wasted. And there was some kids, but they were like in the back, like playing conkers or whatever kids do these days.
Conkers?
Yeah, I don't know what they do. And this cop that was like, he was supposed to be blocking off the street, because it's a block party. He walks up to me and he does that like John Wayne walk. And he comes up and like, I had to pull the mic away because he tried to take my mic. And he looks at me and he gets right in my face and is like, you need to stop with them damn F-bombs. There's kids everywhere. And then walked away. And I was like, wow. I mean, that would be like if you're at a comedy club and the bouncer comes up to you and tells you what you can and can't say while you're on stage. Like, it was crazy to me. Because that's what he was doing. He was bouncing. That was his job.
Yeah.
But everything else, though, I was upset for a minute. I brought up the last band. I did some more time. I kind of made fun of the cop. Luckily, the people that kind of caught that were on my side about it, but they were kind of like, just say yes, sir. Just say yes, sir. Like, it kind of became like a mommy's about to get hit by daddy situation. In this case, I'm mommy. But everything else went without a hitch.
That's good news, man. I mean, that would have been a Lenny Bruce moment for sure if you'd have been arrested on stage.
Man,
I might have tried to get that story in the bag, but I'm glad the rest of the event went well.
There was definitely like a Spirit of the Staircase moment where I was like, man, I should have got him to do like a field sobriety test on me, like on stage, and get him involved.
I think
he's gonna come up here anyway.
You might have terrified everybody.
shouldn't you be kind of helping me out with not letting people rush the stage like they're doing right now? Like, Jesus Christ, I'm in danger, and you're not worried about that. You're worried about the fact that I said fuck. Like,
right.
It's always a little misguided.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. But I'm glad the event went off without a hitch.
Yeah, man,
how was the brass band? I love a good brass band.
Blackwater Brass, well, they're kind of like I'd say they're probably the most popular, well-known band in Biloxi, or just in the Mississippi Gulf Coast area. So made sense. We also had two dudes from Chicago that were comics that came down and did some sets. Tim Brennan and Mike Stricker. They've done like Jackass Live and stuff before, so that was pretty cool. But I felt bad for these guys because like they were really cool, but I felt bad because I'm bringing in these out-of-towners and they get to do a set in between bands where everybody's just being rowdy. Like, there was just no controlling that crowd for a comedy set, you know?
Right.
Yeah. They were there to be wild.
Yeah.
So they were clean too, those two guys?
Well, they had to be. Now that they basically saw me, because I misspoke. I brought them up before I brought Blackwater, because Blackwater they're like a 9-piece band.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea was to have us do like time in between while they're setting up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we had them go up before, and they basically saw me and they were like, I don't want the cop to beat my ass, so they cleaned it up pretty quick. Like,
dude,
that's funny.
The last thing you want to see on stage is a badge. That's
cop.
Yeah, I know.
Damn.
But I shook the mayor's hand. That was kind of cool.
Nice. So is it something that you guys are going to get to keep doing? Or is it like an annual thing, or what's...
Yeah, they want to do it every month. I got a meeting with like the city this week to talk about like what our next plan is, because I think the better plan is to have a comedy show separate in a different green area, and then I'll MC it still, but the in-between part should be like games that the businesses that are sponsoring it do. So like if you do something like, and I'll host it, or like have the kids sign up to where if they throw a football through a thing, they win this prize from whatever business it is. You know, that'll be a good idea, I think.
Dude, that sounds fun.
Like a stand-up show should be separate from that. Like, we tried it, didn't work.
Yeah.
Well, at least you can say you guys
they're
did.
still talking to you, so it must have been pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that you guys tried it, so you got an idea of, you know, what does, what doesn't. Got proof. That's great, man. Congratulations. I look forward to seeing more of them.
Yeah, comedy's tough on the outside. Comedy should be like in the dark, dingy basement somewhere, not in the outside and during the day. That's just the whole setup is weird, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the outside part wasn't as bad as just the fact that the original plan was like, man, we wanted to be like this dirty show kind of at the end of the night. Even the city people were like, yeah, I mean, I kind of expected it to be rated R by now, but.
Right.
We just didn't expect so many drunk people mixed in with kids. Like, it was crazy.
Right.
In Mississippi, nobody thought, really? Nobody had the thought that drunk people are going to bring their children?
Yeah, I mean, and it could have just been that the drunk people were separate from the children. Maybe the children just showed up as like the little ragamuffins and then nobody belonged to them. But if that's the case, they've heard worse than fuck.
Yeah, those drunks were dropping the F-bombs all over the place.
Oh, God. I had an old lady try to give me a handy, so that's
nice. Well,
nah.
What? Do tell.
When I first took the mic, the last part, because it was pretty calm up front, and then the last part was this, like the old, when I was like, had the mic when I was about to bring up those comics, and then Blackwater, she came up to like dance with me, and I was kind of like, all right, well, fuck it, you know. It was funny because she wanted to dance, but then she was old, so.
So it ended up being a hand job instead of dancing, like.
Yeah, but like a hand job to my waist.
Like
a waist hand job. Like a double hand. I'm a two-hander. I have the girth of a light pole.
Nice.
But that's my body, not my pee-pee.
But now you're being clean. Yeah, okay, I get it. So what other shows are we doing other than the block party?
Yeah, tell us about landmass comedy.
Yeah, landmass is killing it, right?
Yeah, the weekly ones are doing well. We've got the Monday show at District on the Alley and Gulfport is like you're encouraged to do blue humor, and then the the one on Tuesday is our longest running one at the Jute Joint every Tuesday. And then we have another show every Sunday that I just got done doing where it's a basically you can come in and like bring because it's at a record store called Marley's Music.
Mm-hmm.
And that place is right there where we do the block party, where you can bring in like cringy music and then we'll just like make fun of it.
I've got an album I want to bring to that one. There's
Absolutely, please. Comics don't like showing up to that one because it started as a live stream and they hate live stream comedy. So
They do? Why? What's wrong with the live stream?
I mean, to me, it's not a problem, but I guess it's because you don't have an audience to interact with.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but you know, a lot of them working with them. But we got those are the ones, and then we had another show pretty recently, and we have another one coming up at a place called Our Creative Space in Gulfport, and it's like it's like this place where they do comedy, and we did one show that went really well. We had a 12-year-old girl go up and do comedy like the first show last month.
What?
Was she clean?
Yeah.
Did you tell her to be clean?
And she crushed it. Yeah, dude. So the whole thing started with they wanted me to teach comedy, and I was like, I am not, because you guys have. My thing says my internet connection's unstable. You guys good? You back?
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, you're okay for now.
Okay, it said that it was unstable.
It's dropped a little bit, but not bad enough that we can't follow you, so you're good.
They wanted me to teach classes for money, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Every fucking scene has some douchebag like wash up that figures out like, oh, I could just make money off of new comics, and they do it. So I was like, I'm not doing that. But I told him, look, the one thing he said was, look, these kids, like, you know, because I told him the open mics are where you start out. And he was like, well, yeah, but a little 11-year-old girl is not going to want to come to the Jute Joint to do a set.
Right.
I was like, that's not a bad point. So I said, look, I'll just teach the classes for free. And then we'll have a paid show where we'll do a showcase of what she's learned between then. And it was kind of cool because she actually, it's a girl, it's like, or a kid, you know, they're open cups. I didn't have to deal with like, because there's like a rule in comedy, never give advice or unsolicited advice, because people take it like too personally.
Mm-hmm.
And but this is a kid who like is a complete open cup, so she took everything that I said and formulated because she gave me a set, and I was like, all right, here's how to fix it, and then she fixed it, and then it crushed. I mean, it was amazing watching like that learning curve happen, like live. But yeah, her parents came to all the classes, and when I was asking her, hey, what do you like about comedy? And one of the things she said was, my parents don't even let me watch SpongeBob. I was like, God, I'm gonna have to like really clean this shit up.
No, that is pretty clean.
Yeah.
Dude, well, it's great that she's a little sponge, just soaking it all up and
a little SpongeBob.
A little non-SpongeBobby SpongeBob. That's awesome though, having people do the thing. I think I saw one of the pictures from there, and it looked like a good crowd. Looked like a lot of fun. You wearing a tie of all things.
Dude, Maddie, yeah, I look like a used car salesman. But Maddie did a thing at the end because there were some dudes there, and they were getting kind of rowdy because it was like a wine and cheese event. Mm-hmm. And Maddie like charged them $1 for basically $1 per roast, and made $16 doing that night. Killed it too.
Yeah, if I have to write a joke about you on the fly, this is what it costs. That's great.
Yeah.
Good for her.
I think we're going to do that at the next block party. We're just going to have like a booth set up to where like we'll have a comic there for like a 30-minute slot, and like people can walk up and just get roasted for $1.
I would get in so much trouble. That sounds like fun though. It's the opposite of a kissing booth. It's verbally slap you in the face.
Oh, we could do kissing booths.
Nah, you wouldn't get as much money for that.
Yeah.
You would though, Martin.
During the height of
it, like you would. You got that like British Santa Claus look going for you.
Oh yeah.
In the height of a pandemic, yeah. Let's definitely let's get Santa out there kissing people.
Yeah,
it'll be great.
Get the super spreader event going.
This is like a Florida man post. Local Santa arrested for kissing kids.
Yeah.
Shocker, he was not a priest.
Or a Santa.
Look at that hat though, man. That beanie. I think the Your
What?
beanie has more fans than we do, Governor.
Yeah, this is my lucky hat.
That's his open mic hat. That's what he said. He has a open
It
mic hat
is.
and then a speaker hat and then a headline hat. He has like hats for every climb and place.
Right, the open mic hat's doubling as a podcast hat right now.
I love it. It matches the plant. That's
Yeah.
Anyway, distracting.
Compton, you should get a kilt that matches, like the same material.
Yeah, just can't get all that in camera frame.
No, just have the kilt in camera frame. Just like zoom in right on the dick.
Make it my backdrop.
It'll just look like a wallpaper at first, like a wallpaper with a bulge.
Just have to look real carefully.
With a low-hanging bulge, I might add.
Yeah, well, you would know.
Those are the nuts.
You would know. You would know. I told that story recently.
Yeah, I heard it. I think it was with Kyla. She said that y'all talked about that on the pod.
Yeah, it came up because she was there. So she bore witness.
Yeah.
But no, I actually told it on stage somewhere the other day. I can't remember where it was, but anyway. Yeah, it was a good time. I feel like if we retell the story now, like
the ball fondling was a good time.
Yeah, it was good for me. Was it good for you?
I mean, maybe it's a new career. If it was a good time for you, it's definitely a choice that I have in life now. Hand jobs, but for balls, not dicks.
I guess just to fill people in, Krangus was brave enough to find out what's under the kilt one night, and it was, I don't know. Did you learn anything?
I mean, I learned that there's
Was it a valuable lesson? Is what I'm getting at.
I learned that there's a lot of forest under that flannel.
Yes, indeed. Oh, what a crazy night! It's just the image. The best part was you wiping your hand on Jacob Craig's face, like.
Forgot about that.
He walked out.
That's what gave him diabetes, actually.
Yeah, he walked out, and when he found out what had just happened, that was quite an experience. Anyway, that's at the Juke Joint. If you guys want to have a good time, go to the Juke Joint. Check out what Landmass Comedy's doing, because it's always a crazy good time. Were you there the night that we were talking to the guy that had COVID? Yes, you were there.
Just there with COVID?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I know you were there, but
I probably
were you
was,
standing there with AJ and I were talking to him? AJ Bell.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would have had to be there.
Yeah.
I've only missed one of my own shows, and it was last week because I had a private event at the same night.
Yeah, AJ and I were talking to this guy out back, and he was like, "Yeah, I got COVID." Like, like you have not used to have it, just standing here, probably killing people. Damn it, son.
Yeah, I know, like, we're trying to make a thing here, and you're kind of fucking it up. I didn't know about that.
It was a long time ago, and it was...
He's probably dead.
I just walked away. I was like, dude, I can't do this. I got to peace out. But, you see all kinds of people, especially at the Juke Joint. It gets fun. It gets crazy. I like
you
it.
meet all
I
kinds
miss
of
it.
diseases over there.
I miss it. Well, I mean...
Mostly gonorrhea.
That's the most common right now.
Dude, so many people have fucked in that back parking lot. Like, you can kind of go back there and smell the bleachy semen smell all over the grass.
Oh, I
like
didn't
a nice thin coat.
Didn't even think about that, but yeah, I'm sure that's happened too. They've got a nice patio out there.
Like, because people do illicit things back there in that little parking lot, and I looked on the ground and I noticed there was a Waffle House cup.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, the Juke Joint is so wild that people come back from Waffle House after they've already gotten fucked up, went to Waffle House, and they're like, fuck it, let's go back to the Juke.
That's round 2, baby.
Yeah.
That's how much fun the Juke Joint is. Dude, anything else fun going on with Landmass besides you're going to have the block parties coming back? That's good.
Yeah.
You mentioned the creative space.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool one. We got the block party thing. Just talking to Zeke about some potential things. I think you know about that, but I don't want to announce that yet until it's real. But then there's a little bar I'm going to talk to called Tracks in Long Beach. We've done a few shows there.
Oh, I was there.
Well, you went to the first one. The second one actually went way better.
Good.
In terms of performance, like phenomenally better. The problem was the dude, like, the day of hits me up and goes, hey, we want you to make more money, man. So why don't, instead of us paying you, why don't we just, you guys work the door and charge $5? So now I've been promoting a free show for a month.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And instead of free, I have to now charge $5.
Right.
I have to work my own door, so now I got to be my own doorman.
Yeah.
So basically doing double the work, and they're not paying anything. And it's
Right.
like, I mean, I did it because it's like, what was it? There's a new owner that didn't know about this show, and they were kind of like flipping out, like, yo, what the fuck is this? Why didn't I know about it? And so I think there was a conversation between the manager and them,
Right.
and I got the bone on it. But we still got the money that we would have gotten anyway. So
Good.
but I had to do double the work. But I am going to talk to them. But this time I'm going to talk to the actual owner and be like, hey, let's do that again. But well, if you want to do a ticketed event, let's make it that way. That way we can do pre-sales.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Save you some of that legwork. Dude, well, I'm glad that that place worked out, because that first night was it was a little wild.
That was awful. We only had like one heckler. Oh, this is a good one. We only had one like heckler, and it was just old guy that was just kind of sitting in the middle. Everybody else was actually really attentive. It was a great show, but this one dude was sitting in kind of like the middle area. And I think Terrell was doing the joke about eating booty.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude just stands up and goes, "Electricity!"
What?
And it was like, what? It was kind of funny. And then I basically, he'd been heckling everybody all night. And you guys know about the joke that I do about my mom dying, like the ducks eating her.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You've heard me set that up where it's kind of serious at first. So I'm doing the serious setup. And this dude starts going, oh, go to an actual joke. And I flipped. I fucking lost it. And I was like, I literally said, like, all the comics were there. I was like, shut the fuck, old man. I'm going to kill you. And it just got silent. And then he did he was a little guy. He shut the fuck up. He was old. He shut up. And then I still was able to, like, pull the joke off. It was pretty awesome.
Nice.
But I just had enough. I was like, I watched you disrespect all the comics before I got up here. And now I'm doing a very kind of a serious setup to a joke. And you're starting to shit on me. Fuck you, dude. I'm done.
Yeah, for sure. Well, at least it was just the one. Like,
Yeah.
That,
Hecklers,
Yeah.
I think they're part of the show, but they're really not.
Well, dude, hold on, Compton. Did you know about what? Oh, you weren't there for the first part of the first show.
no, I only
Dude.
heard.
The reason that why things were so weird was because the guy that books me, he's like a metal musician,
Mhm.
and he wants to do comedy, right? He's a big fan of comedy. It's one of those kind of bookings.
Right.
And he gets me up there, and he told me before, he's like, first of all, he's never done comedy, and he goes, I want to do some time. I'm like, all right, whatever, you own the place or manage the place. How much time do you want to do? Oh, I'll do like 30. All right. So I'm like, fuck it. It's your place. We'll make you the headliner. I'm okay with it because I'm assuming, and I was correct in saying this, that he'll bring a bunch of his friends, and they did show up. But he wanted us to just perform, and he wanted his buddy, who has also never done comedy, to host. Now his buddy was straight like methed out.
Yeah, this was the first train wreck
We were
I heard
talking
about.
to him. I was talking to him before, and I was like, because I still, even though like, he was their thing, I was like, look, I wanted the show to go good. So like, you ever hosted before? I'm trying to like gauge him out, and he's like, no, man, I'm a real funny guy. You know, he's doing this stuff, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. So he gets up there, and within the first minute, somebody's kind of saying something to him, and he's probably a guy that's seen like a bunch of those comic destroys heckler videos.
Yeah.
You know, and so he just straight up looks at him and goes, shut the fuck up, and like jumps off stage to go fight this guy within the first 30 seconds of a show that he was hosting.
Nice.
So I just went up and was like, dude, to the owner, I was like, dude, just let me do my job. And he goes, you got it. So I got up there and kind of calmed everything down, did just enough jokes to get everybody's attention, and then brought, I think, Jacob Reynolds up there.
Yeah.
But it just never really, because the host kind of sets the precedent of the show.
Yeah.
I never really truly recovered from that shit.
Damn. Yeah, by the time I got there, they ended up starting like a half hour early or an hour early. And I got there while, let's see, Nikki was finishing up maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I walked in and it was tense. I could tell.
Yeah. I had to do a lot of work to get it from where it was up here to at least down here. It was kind of bearable. You had a great set. I mean, as rough as it was, you really had a great set.
Yeah, man, I had a lot of fun. I loved
And that's not like one of those like open mic, like, great set, dude.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's like I remember this is a strong set.
Yeah, I was kind of amped up. Like it was just enough crowd to make me anxious and push really hard. So I had a good
Yeah.
time. But I could see, well, knowing what that night was about, like that was a bunch of people that came out to see their buddy do comedy for the
Yeah.
first time. So I knew going in, like, oh, this is going to be one of those wild ride kind of nights. So I was,
Yeah, I did warn everybody. Like I told all the comics like what it was gonna be.
yeah. So we had a pretty
Sorry.
good idea.
This way
Oh, that's all right. Your microphone cut out, but that's okay. Yeah, so I had a good time. I'm glad to hear that it's come around and it's getting even better. That's good.
Nice.
is my. Are we back on?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
You're good. Was your laptop burning your knees?
No, I've noticed. I'm a very animated person. I noticed my knees kept shaking the screen. So.
Yeah, we were just gonna tell everybody you've been jerking off the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
Okay. No, my cat's getting it. He's got the little kneading thing, that they do.
oh yeah, nice. So we've got this video queued up.
Okay.
One of the things that we love to do is look at old material, like old stuff that we can talk about the stories behind it if it's become something new.
Okay.
All the good things.
I haven't. Yeah, I send this to people sometimes, and I really haven't watched it in a long time. So this will be interesting.
We'll just let it roll from the top. If you want us to skip over anything, feel free. But this,
Are we just watching it, or do you want me to talk about it during?
Yeah, you can talk during, right?
yeah,
We
I can.
stop and do some explanations and stuff.
Yeah, I can
Okay.
stop it and start it at any time. No big deal.
He's got his finger on the button. Our man Compton,
Well,
finger
yeah.
on the button.
Yeah, man. We're trying to do shit over here.
Look at this. Very-
Everybody, what's up? Yeah. Oh, damn, got the whole wine bottle. All that cougar juice for you.
This is about 4 years ago, I think.
Way to go right there. Matt Broomsgrant here, how y'all doing? I'm gonna get to y'all in a minute. I got questions. Don't worry. Man, my grandma lives with me. I live with my grandma. That's just a lie I tell people that come over. I'm taking care of her. Oh my God, he's so adorable. She's there. I came home a few days ago and two things are out of place when I opened the fridge. One, my grandma's
I've
phone
changed
was on
that.
top of the eggs.
God,
Two,
I was so much more
the
ripped.
bag of marijuana edibles that I just bought had been opened and 3 were taken out. Suspicious. I went and knocked on my grandma's door. I was like, Mima, how you feeling? She's like, Christopher, I feel real scary. I was like, yeah, because you're dying right now. That's 150 milligrams of THC, Grandma. So I need that 20 spot whenever you get a chance. Things cost money, time is hard. It's weird living with her. She treats me like a frat bro, man. She ain't no lie. I had a date at the house the other night, and we didn't do nothing. I like to take my time with her. And my grandma was like, she came in when I came home, and she was like, hey, what happened? Why was Paulina sleeping on the couch? You couldn't get him in your bed? I was like, damn, me, Mom, let me take my time.
I remember she did do that shit, dude. I had this girl at the house. My grandma did live with me, and it was just the girl kind of smoked and just kind of wanted to sleep it off. And I was like, whatever, man. And she slept on the couch, and I was kind of in the room doing whatever. Cause I'm not gonna date rape this girl. And my grandma comes in and is like, "What? You couldn't seal the deal?" I'm like, wow. Grandma was vicious, bro. I don't do that joke anymore. I need to bring that one back. Probably form it up a little bit, but
How long ago was this, by the way? I forgot to mention it.
it's
I'll
about
look it up.
4 years ago.
Oh.
This is probably a year before I left Phoenix, and I've been back for about 3 years.
Nice. So 4 years. It took 4 years for you to be not that ripped, is what you were saying.
Yeah, I was. That was when I was in fighting shape. I remember.
Is that just because of the weather out there? Or less
No,
fried food, less sweet tea?
Hey, I
Which
moved
one?
back and I got a girlfriend, man. That's what happens. You get a girlfriend and just start getting fat. You don't work as hard anymore.
We'll make sure to tell her that next time we see her.
But the reason I started really getting in fighting shape though is because my buddy David K is out there. Look him up if you get a chance. He was a really fat guy. He asked me to help him lose weight, and I was like, yeah. So I built a gym in my backyard, a boxing gym, and within 3 months I had him lose 70 pounds.
Nice.
And then so we ended up opening up to the comics in the area, and we called it Body by Chris, the BBC. So.
Body by Chris. That raises a good question. I noticed it on here, but I wasn't going to say anything because it's got your full name, Chris Gillespie, at the intro of this. So what's the story behind Krangus?
So somewhere after this, my friends, including my girlfriend, came to visit, and we were on an acid trip in my house. And my friend Anthony, y'all probably met Anthony before. You know the height of the acid trip when you really can't formulate words properly?
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to say my name, Chris, and he just kept yelling, Krangus, Krangus, and it just kind of became a thing. I don't tell that story because it's really an inside joke, but it just kind of stuck after that.
Hey, man, that's...
But people do ask me, like, is it Scottish? They'll be like, they think it's like a real name.
That's a good way to get a nickname, though. Like, if you're going to come up with a nickname, get it from somebody that is tripping balls. All right, back to this clip.
Heart disease. Oh shit, when your arteries are clogged 90%. Oh man. I love her to death though. She was always proud of me. Like Matt, I actually was in the Marine Corps as well. And that was something that...
This is the booger joke. I'm going to shit my...
after the show, but like, let's go. My family thought that I was like a golden child when I was serving, man. They thought that I was like a big hero. They thought I did nothing wrong. My family never took me to Disney until after I joined the Marine Corps. That was the rule. Like, they will take you to Disney, but you got to get through boot camp first. Like, that was the rule growing up in the Gillespie household. And,
that was a riff.
Fuck. They didn't realize the whole time I was just like going to Tijuana on the weekends and not doing Christian things. I just was not doing that. Man. I remember it, man. Like, it was just a job to me.
I gotta remind myself to not send this to bookers anymore.
Was we would get like notes from kids, like letters, and there was always the cute ones, like the cute kids that would like send stuff like, "We hope you make it home safe." But then there was like the psychotic kids that would be like drawing pictures of like murder happening on the damn page. This kid's like 8 years old, like, kill them all, man, and I'm just like, "Oh, Billy, like."
I've definitely developed that joke better.
This kind of murder.
So
yeah, now the joke is I actually described the whole thing where on the one hand there's a kid that draws like a picture of a dude's head getting cut off with blood and shit and semen everywhere, and then the punchline to that is and you're like, oh, that's gonna be a school shooter one day. So that was definitely one of the first times I told that and hadn't figured out how to tell it.
you mentioned not sending it to bookers anymore. What made you think of that?
Just now?
Yeah.
I'm watching myself bomb in the middle there. I felt like I had him in the beginning, and then it looked like I forgot what I was saying at that one part because I know myself.
Well, that's why I asked, because it said you were riffing that part, and then it looked like you paused to find your place right after the riff.
Yeah.
But you found it.
Yeah, you were pretty quick to get back on track. It was not too bad.
Yeah.
That's why I asked. I was wondering if that's what you were not wanting people to see. I was like, that's
dude,
a pretty quick recovery.
I mean, how many? You run stuff over in Panama City, and people send you booking stuff. I mean, how many videos do you watch of people where you're like, I don't know, you know?
None.
Oh, you don't watch any videos?
I book mostly people that I know, or that I've seen perform personally. So I mean, when I run out of people that I have worked with previously, then maybe I'll worry about it. But right now, I don't have to worry about it yet. We'll see, though. We'll see. Let's see.
I got one letter one time from this 8-year-old kid that said, "I hope you survive the whore." WHORE, whore. That's what this little kid said. I was like...
I've always wanted to ask you. True story?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you have that frame?
I know. I wish I still kept that. It was kind of it wasn't sent to me directly. It was sent to our whole unit.
Oh, okay.
So somebody else kept it. But we were kind of, all of those things were real. A lot of them were generally like boring shit that was like, we hope you make it back. And then, but there would be like, for every 10 to 20 kids, there'd be that one kid that would just draw straight violence. And then just that one letter was just the funniest thing we saw. It really brought our day. Like, you know, having it's pretty much every day is a shitty day on deployment, but that made our day.
Dude, I bet I would have chuckled for a while at that one.
Yeah.
Because, oh man, You just want to find that kid's parents and be like, see what happens.
You obviously heard that word at home, right?
Yeah. I actually found out recently that kid was Dylan Roof. So
Nice.
There you go. Keep adding lines. If you don't use that line, you should.
I'll write it down.
I did survive that war. I did. Man. And,
Walking around too much. By the way, that stage is tiny.
It's rough, but like I've gotten a little bit more used to it. I think I'm getting a little better.
Like how tiny? Like half the
I'd
screen?
probably say 5 foot by 5 foot. And it's really high off the ground too, so it's probably about 4 feet off the ground.
Man.
Like I have seen many a It's like in Phoenix, it's like a rite of passage to fall off that stage.
That's small. Oh, damn.
It's real tiny, dude.
Damn.
I think it's smaller than what I just described, actually, now that I think about it.
I wish we could see it, but that's all right.
Just kind of going. But my dreams, that's where things started getting weird. My dreams have like started to evolve. When I first got out, I'd have just like dreams of like the beat, like just the straight reenactment of like battle, right? Stuff like that. Well then, like eventually my brain started getting used to it and was like, all right, this time we gotta trip him up. This time he's at the war, but he's naked. Oh! And he's late. He's late for the big war. No! Like, that's fucking bizarre.
To fidget a lot more.
That's a very interesting description of PTSD, though.
Yeah. That's I didn't realize how much I fidgeted back then, and I used to use a lot of filler words.
I love watching you pick this apart. This is great.
Yeah.
Very insightful.
Yeah.
I gotta go to the
I'm
VA
definitely
soon.
self-deprecating right now.
I hate going to the VA, dude. Because I'm fine, all right? I gotta go to the VA where there's like real veterans that went through some like real shit. Like this dude's just a torso in a wheelchair, and then this dude's like just half a body somehow this way. I don't know. And they're all looking. I'm just there for the PTSD thing. They're looking at me like, "What you here for?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm sad."
I rewrote the first part of this for a better punchline. The part where it's just a dude in a torso.
Yeah.
I say, there's this guy over here with hooks for tits. That's the new tagline there.
That is a good one.
Pretty much everything else is the same on that joke, though.
Yeah, that's a good one. I've heard you do that one before. It's definitely well polished.
He's like real men that like been through World War II and shit. And I always want to talk shit too. They do. I don't know. People don't know what it be like it is. You gotta get used to the one thing that I did learn from it is like you gotta get used to like the idea of death. Like we all gotta, if it's your time, man. Like there ain't nothing you can really do about it.
Okay.
But I know my mom had the kind of death that like I would like to have. Like she knew what was happening. She was able to make peace with herself and everybody else, including me. And we had the ceremony a few years ago. We're gonna spread the ashes. Snickering already. My mom died. I'm just kidding. You can totally laugh. Totally laugh. No, it's good. It's good. So like we're there. At the Tennessee River. Spread the ashes. The whole family's like crying and everything.
I definitely build this moment a lot better nowadays.
What were you saying? I couldn't.
I've learned to like that moment when I'm describing it. The setup is a lot more like dramatic and intense.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Nowadays, because I'll get like that's the one joke that I have where no matter what, with the exception of that block party. I mean, I didn't tell that joke. Like people will be like, because I'll start talking about my mom dying, and they'll just be like on the edge of their seat listening to it.
It's a good hook. It's a good way to get everybody.
It doesn't always land, but I don't care when it doesn't because it's like, I mean, it's one of my favorite jokes.
Yeah, I think it's got. I mean, just the setup talking about death. I mean, yeah. It's definitely a good way to get people's attention.
Spreads them in there, and then like the ashes are in the water, and then this like armada of ducks come out of nowhere and start just devouring my mom's ashes. My whole family starts losing their shit. No! And I'm laughing my ass off. Damn, mom, you don't let them ducks do that to you? Oh my god. And then these like 2 park rangers came out of nowhere and gave like 3 of us a ticket for feeding the ducks. Like, man, fucking worse.
Oh wow, I didn't close with this.
I grew
Is that your closer now?
Yeah, that's usually my closer if I'm doing it. I don't do it usually for like 5-minute sets because I've learned with this joke, this crowd was pretty good, but with most, especially like bar crowds, I mean, this is a comedy club, so it's different, but with most regular crowds, a 5-minute set isn't long enough to gain their trust for them to go, okay.
We'll entertain the
We'll
death
entertain
idea.
the talk about his mom dying.
Right.
Just to get to the punchline. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good point. If you're going to do personal stuff, you got to leave it until the end, until you got their, you've gained their trust with the funny stuff. And if that doesn't happen, then you got to change the end, or else you're going to bomb.
Yeah. I have opened with that before, and it just didn't work.
Right.
Man, how did that go? Like, did people pay attention for a minute and then tune out, or was it just immediately no reaction?
For this specific night?
No, opening with it. Like, I'm just trying to imagine opening with something that deep.
Oh, it was definitely just like it was the reaction that most open micers get at a comedy club, where it's like, all right, this dude's coming at me way too intense,
I gotcha. Well, let's see what you ended up closing with.
South
Probably the booger
Mississippi.
joke.
That was a weird time. Well, I grew up specifically between like 3rd and 6th grade. I went to an all-black school. Like, I was the only white kid in the school. And I remember, they did this thing every February for Black History Month, where all the kids would come to school like dressed in costumes as like people, like members of the Civil Rights era, like just different heroes, And I liked it. But every fucking year, they made me be Abraham Lincoln. Every damn year. I wanted to be like Booker T. Washington or Muhammad Ali. Like, nope. You get that beard and that hat right now, show us. That's all you get. That's it. Oh, man. I don't know.
I gotta get that body back. God damn. Sorry, I'm like just looking at how out of shape I am now.
What? Well, we're gonna call that the Abraham Lincoln body then.
Right.
The A-bod. A-bod.
Let's get back to the Marine Corps a little bit. Y'all want to hear some stories about that shit? Y'all want to hear some stories about the Marine Corps? I was like sitting there like.
I was like, nope.
They were like, no. Yeah, we've had it. We're good.
I guarantee $10 says this is the booger story.
Having previewed the clip, I will go ahead and tell you are correct.
Okay.
It was like working at Taco Bell to me, but like if you were a slave at Taco Bell. That was the way that like the Marine Corps was to me. The 3rd day, I'm like at boot camp, and I'm like, standing in attention, trying to do my thing, trying to make sure I'm staying under the radar. But I got like a booger in my nose. Like one of those, I can't what are you supposed to do? Like, sir, this recruit request permission for that. No, like I'm sitting there, and I'm like, all right, nobody's in front of me.
Speak too fast.
One try, got it out. Like nobody. I was like, yeah, man. This drill instructor was watching me from behind the whole time. And he like swoops up in my face, gets right here. And this dude's like 6,000 pounds, just a fucking giant man. And I'm like so scared, like I was gonna put it in my pocket, but I couldn't do it at that point because he's like, I'm thinking, I see Full Metal Jacket, he's gonna make me do like a shitload of push-ups or something, right? He looks at me, he looks at the booger finger and goes, put it back! So I'm like, this is the worst job I've ever had. And this kid behind me starts laughing his ass off. I get it. He's about to watch this dumb bitch put a booger back in his nose. That's what happens. But he decides to punish him instead. He's like, stop. Put it in that bitch's nose. All right, guys, that's been my time. My name is Gillespie.
I'll tell you an interesting story about the tagline there. Well, first of all, that joke is the first joke I ever wrote that like really landed.
Oh yeah.
Of course, when I first would tell it, there was way too because I was fresh out of the Marines when I started comedy, and so there was I used to do way too much setup, like talking about the Marine Corps, because thinking that people wouldn't get it. So I figured out the best way to do it. Somebody gave me advice. They're like, just compare it to like a regular job, and that's how I do it now. Because the booger part, I haven't to put it back, is already funny. but I needed to cut some of that setup out. Now the booger thing happened. I absolutely had to put it back in my nose. Funny thing though, the tagline where I put it in somebody else's nose, one of the first weekends I worked at a comedy club called Stand Up Scottsdale, Lynn Coplitz came in. I don't know if y'all know who that is.
No.
Lynn she was kind of what's her name? Joan Rivers' protege back early, like in the 2010s era, and she came into headline, and she was one of the nicest headliners I met. We were talking outside, and she was like, "You're a comedian. I'm gonna get you to open." I was like, "I've only done it like twice though." She's like, "No, you're gonna open for me." I was like, "All right." So I do a whole set. The only joke that lands is this story right here, but I didn't have that tagline. And so afterwards, we were talking, and she was like, "What if you had to put it in somebody else's nose?" So that tagline is actually Lynn Coplitz gave me that. So,
dude, and it still lands
like
every time.
Years ago, yeah.
4 years ago. What's it like watching you from 4 years ago?
That was 7 years ago that she gave me that.
So that's when you started doing comedy, was 7 years. But you didn't start in Mississippi.
That was when that happened. Oh no.
Okay.
I started in Phoenix.
You started where? In Phoenix.
Technically, the first open mic I ever did was a place called Moondoggies in Pacific Beach near San Diego.
Oh, really?
And then I got out and then moved to Arizona with my friend. And then there was a comedy club that was right around the corner from my house. And so I was like, I'll just go serve there, like be a bartender or server, and learn about comedy, which was pretty much what happened. Because I mean, I was like, when I first started, I wasn't performing as much because, I mean, I was still like at an open micer level, but I was watching guys like Sam Morrill, Mark Norman, Tom Segura, like 7 nights a week, 2 times a show or 2 times a night.
Hell yeah!
So I definitely like learned a lot of lessons. Like I used to treat comedy like the Marine Corps, where it was like I was demanding too many things that I hadn't earned yet, to try to be the better person. But I look back now and I'm like, God, what a fucking asshole I was. You just think about it, but I mean, it's hard to go from like this big toxic masculine thing to like comedy, But I did learn a lot at that not in this comedy club too, but the other club was called Stand Up Scottsdale. And I learned a lot there.
So how'd you end up back in Mississippi? Do you have family down here, or what's the connection?
Yeah, my dad started dying. Dude, by the time I left Phoenix, I was actually starting to get noticed by the clubs, including this one here. And things were going pretty good, and then my dad started dying, and that's my grandma's son.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's move back. The plan was just to stay here for a few months and then let him die and then move back. But I burned through all my savings really quick. Damn. And then pretty much got stuck here. But then like I kind of fell for my girlfriend. I probably, if I hadn't have gotten with Jessica, I would have moved back already. But now, not only that, I have this whole company that I started.
Yeah, you're not going anywhere now. I
saw a gap that I wanted to start Landmass as a way to protect comics from the nasty shit that's out there. You know what I mean? Like, one of my mottos is like, if you're on a book show, you're paid for it. And we're not doing bringers. We're not doing these shows where you just do a guest spot for no money. We're not doing any of that. We're actually taking care of comics for their work and their time.
Dude. Go ahead.
But my dad, you want to hear a funny story? I do this sometimes. My dad, well, when he was dying, he was, me and my brother would take care of him, and we would like change his diapers and stuff because he had brain cancer. And I was changing his diaper, and I noticed he had like foreskin, right? And it was weird. But me and my brother were talking a few months after he died, and I was like, man, like it was really rough, like having to take care of dad and change his diapers. And he was like, fuck you, dude, I had to clean his foreskin. I was like, dude, holy shit, you're the older brother from now on, dog. Like, Jesus Christ, I was not that dedicated of a son, man.
Yeah, man, death is scary. It shows you what humanity is.
Yeah.
The dirty side. That's crazy, man. That'll seal the deal, though. From cradle to grave comes full circle. He did that for you at some point. Well, I say that. I don't know that for sure, but you don't have to tell us.
Did that for me? Like my brother did or my dad did. He spared me the foreskin.
Your dad did, but then I don't know what that situation is for you. So
Give
anyway.
a man a foreskin and he'll clean it for a day. Teach a man to foreskin. And he will be a Jew for life.
Oh, man.
I'm drinking.
That's all right. I was just trying to make sure we tidied up all the bows and connected all the dots. So having been from Phoenix and seeing that comedy scene, what are your thoughts on all the comedy scenes that are migrating around right now?
Phoenix, like when I first got to Phoenix, or when I first started at the scene, I mean, like I was a new comic, so like, I don't know any better. But looking back, it started with a bunch of turds, like what you would call gatekeepers. The whole thing where these shitty comedians just happen to have power for whatever reason, and they only book each other. It was kind of that thing. And then there was some, like, with some of those guys, there was some like rape allegations that came out, like right around the Me Too movement. Justifiably, and then the ones that I know of were pretty legit. Like these guys were pieces of shit. And then like before I left, like for the 2 years, some of the guys that were really starting to crush it came and shine. Like I'll call them out: Anwar Newton, Michael Turner. They really started taking over the scene, and in a good way. These guys were like, I mean, they were crushing it. They were having like people. They were booking people like, or people like. It was common at it was called the Crescent Ballroom, but it was very common to see guys like Miles Jabroni would just show up to do a set.
What?
Like it was common. It was almost like a comedy store, but in Phoenix. It was crazy.
Cool.
And then, I left because of my dad, and, Corona happened. And I've talked to, Anwar since then, and he's kind of like, look, I was running a lot back then. He had a baby since then. So he's like, I'm kind of focused on my kid right now. But I don't know if they're ever going to see this, but there's a level of what they were doing that I'm trying to base what we're doing on, because there's some people here that I book that I don't like, but I don't care. If they're doing better and they're getting better at comedy, I'm going to base my opinion on that, not my personal opinion.
Sure.
I have had to learn that I can't be their friend.
Yeah.
That's just the way that it has to be. I'm very cordial with people, but I can't be all the comics' friend. I don't hang out with them on the weekends or anything. Mm-hmm. But I want to build a scene where it's based off of merit, not, oh, my buddy wants a spot, so I'm going to pay him to do it or get him paid and everything. And because there's most scenes, even in bigger cities, are like that. Mm-hmm. And I also want to prevent what I really had here when I came back was a place that didn't know anything about comedy. So I didn't have to like worry about in way too many places. There's new comics that'll go up to a bar and just do it for free. And the problem with that is these bar owners like talk to each other and, oh, well, I got this thing for free. And then they go, well, they think it's comedy is free. So then you create a scene where nobody ever gets paid for their work or efforts. Now, the other side of that, though, the other side of the coin is, yes, all the venues pay us, but that puts more pressure on me and the comics to actually promote. Because I don't think like a lot of I'm teaching a lot of the comics not only how to do, I'm not giving any advice on like how to do comedy. You got to figure that out yourself. But as far as promoting yourself, I definitely push that really hard because too many comics don't know how to do it in the beginning, and then they just never learn. And then they think years later, they're like, why am I not getting noticed? And it's like, well, because you're not putting yourself out there, man. Like, so that's landmass is not just about me. It's about everybody coming together to promote all these shows. And that's why we have good turnouts, is because we all work together and they're all learning how to promote through social media and word of mouth.
That's amazing. And that's what it takes these days, man. It's hard just to get people's attention and to get people to do anything, especially after a year of people being told to stay home. That's one thing to get people out, but there are a lot of good reasons to stay home, a lot of good entertainment. That's awesome. That's
masturbation, X videos, X hamster.
Yeah.
XNXX.
Netflix. All the X's.
Yeah.
All the X's. Yep. That's great though, man. The marketing definitely helps. What do you guys use for marketing? I mean, Facebook ads, there's a whole theory behind that. Instagram's pretty popular now.
I used to do Facebook until they restricted my account. Fuck Mark Zuckerberg. No, I use Snapchat for the paid ads like that, but also lately we've been getting. I do a lot of things like I'll go in through like things like golfclose.org and all events, Eventful, and I'll put our events in there. That way they're feeders to my website, which is done through Wix. And I've built my SEO up to where you can kind of Google us a lot easier, because Google is still ultimately more powerful than any of those other ones. But then lately, working with the city, they've been helping us out. Like with that block party, like they promote us, so that's been getting us some more following. And then with that comes like I've got some partnerships with like the local news networks, so we've been getting on TV a little bit more.
Nice. That's definitely the way to go.
Yeah, everything, social media, regular media, word of mouth. You got to hit all of them.
Indeed. Governor, you got any thoughts on marketing?
Marketing?
What's the plan? Think of marketing.
Never heard of her. We could talk about that last tour me and you did, Martin.
That what? What?
The last tour that we did.
That was fun, right?
Where else you guys go?
I mean, well, I know the last one was Hilton Head. We did Clarksville because we went and ate lunch with my uncle.
Right. Yeah.
We did an open mic in Savannah that was really weird. I forgot about that.
Yeah, the Savannah. Yeah.
And then, there was another one.
That, right? We just found that on our day off, a day between book gigs. We found an open mic.
Yeah.
Which was fun.
Well, basically the booker thought that we were doing guest spots in the last show or the next two shows. He like pulled us off these other shows. Oh, a week before that, we went and did Hollywood, Florida at that one place. Remember?
Right. Yeah.
And we barked the hell out of it, dude. Like we
did.
We pulled in people from the streets and like had a full show and made some money that night.
Literally dragging them in, pretty much.
Yeah, and it was a great night. And then that was the end of it. And the booker was like, "All right, they're good at that, so I'm gonna get them on the road more." Well, then we booked us for Clarksville, and then we were supposed to go to like Kentucky or something.
Right.
Yeah, it was Newport, Kentucky. We were supposed to do. And then he pulls us off of that because he wanted us back in Hollywood because he wanted to buy that place as a club. Yeah. And then, but then he was like, all right, but in between, I'll give you these shows over here. Well, then we did those shows and I was like, all right, well, what he said was, I'll make sure to hook you up with food and gas money. Well, my idea is, okay, that means he's going to give the regular money plus the food and gas money because we're getting pulled off these other gigs. Right. So we basically went from headliner feature to like host feature. So we were already going to make less money. Damn. So I was thinking it was going to even out. Well, we get there and he was like only going to pay us in food and gas money.
Damn.
And it was like, what? And then like, because he wanted us down in Hollywood because he saw how much we were able to bring in for that one.
Yeah.
He just wanted to bark.
Most comics are afraid to bark, and I'm one of my biggest weaknesses. I'm a damn yes man, dude. Right. I'll get out there and do it. And
the place had a lot of good foot traffic. That's what you need. So you could just stand right outside the door and talk to people. You can do that all night long and get people in, as long as you've got foot traffic. It's not an out of the way club. But that club was situated perfectly right on the main drag, so we were good.
Yeah, it was a fun night.
Yeah.
The first time I did that was actually the second time I had been there. And the first time, there's a lot of Russian people in Hollywood, Florida for whatever reason. Massive. And the first time I start my jokes, nobody's getting them. And I'm like, but I'm kind of reading the room like, I'm sensing that they're not getting them. So then, of course, I start doing crowd work. I probably did like 2 or 3 minutes up front. And I was like, all right, let's get to know these people because they're not getting it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, hey, where are you from? And they're like, I am from Oleg. And I'm like, okay, don't know anything about that. And then I go like, where are you from? Like just all these Russian places. And I'm like, oh, that's why you're not getting any of these U.S. military jobs. You're not fucking from here. So then I just had to crowd work for the rest of the night.
Yeah. Is Hollywood, Florida, is that in the Panhandle or the Peninsula?
No, it's closer to like Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's way down there.
Gotcha.
You remember the guy took us upstairs and he said we could stay in that room, and there was like this dirty old mattress up there.
We almost got human trafficked.
Yeah.
That was-
You're like, no, I think we're
a,
fine.
lot of Russians, a lot of dirty mattresses. There was almost
Yeah.
an entanglement there.
We've seen this movie before.
I want to see what Liam Neeson would do for Martin.
Very special set of skills.
Where is he?
Yeah.
Liam Neeson doesn't give a shit about you, dude. He wouldn't save you.
Yeah, he would. He'd
Not,
come.
me
Yeah, he
neither.
would like that. He'd come and rescue my plant right here. And leave me.
Yeah, he'd rescue that plant before he'd come for all three of us at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
like none of those 6 names look familiar, but that plant,
The first
I'll
time I
take
did
that
that
plant.
club, actually, the guy that owns it, he was talking to me. Well, so there was these. I gotta do a thing when it's a ticketed event, and I have to do the door. Where if it's like if the show starts at 8 and people are walking in at like 6,
Mhm.
but they just came to get a burger, I'm not gonna like
Right.
turn
Yeah,
away,
that's
you
fine.
know.
Mhm.
So this like family walks in and they're like, oh, we don't know about a show. We just came for a burger and a beer. I'm like, okay, that's fine. We'll start the show at 8. You know, tell us if you want to buy tickets by then.
Mhm.
And they're fine. They walk in. The owner comes up to me, fucking losing his mind, and he's like, hey, you can't just let them in like that, man. These Russians will like they will do anything to like steal from you. They will rob you. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, actually, I think that was like just an American family. And he goes, oh, okay, and just walks away. I was
Right.
like, Jesus Christ.
Because you don't want to turn away his customers. I mean, these are his customers.
Yeah, and I
wanting
wasn't trying to
burgers.
do that. Like, I never try to do that. Like, if it's a ticketed event, like, because
Yeah.
they usually, especially if it's like a two to an hour before the show, like they'll fuck off anyway,
Yeah,
you know.
sure. That'd be gone.
Or in the good sense, you could probably get them to buy a ticket. By they might just go, oh fuck it, let's watch a comedy show. You know, if they drink enough, they'll do that.
Yeah, and if they're there when it starts,
Yeah.
Yeah.
why not stick around? Dude.
There's one night in Fort Smith, Arkansas, that I did a show with this guy. I forgot to ticket him, and it was one of those situations. But then, which was fine. I was like, "Fuck it, the show's already started." He's in the middle. It's just one guy, and we're doing the show. And then but then he starts heckling us. I'm like, motherfucker. Like, so then after the show, we kind of handle him. I put him down. I actually have a recording of this night. Yes, and I think it's on YouTube. After the show, he comes up and he starts talking shit to us again. And I'm like, bitch, you can't be talking shit. You didn't even buy a ticket. And I don't know if this guy just won the lottery or not, but he was like, oh, I can't. And he pulls out like hundreds. And like he did it as if he was like insulting me. But I was like, fuck it, dude. He started putting hundreds in the tip bucket.
Yeah.
Like it ended up being like $400 that he gave us. And I was like, but he was doing it like he was like insulting me, and I was like, "No, dude, keep going. Now, you can roast me. I will let you make fun of me. I will like bend over and let you like make fun of how small my ass is, or whatever you want to do, man. Like, keep the hundreds coming, baby." I don't think you realize how much of a soul I don't have.
Yeah, he did not realize.
He's
for
never
sure.
been a comedian before, I guess. Huh?
I was like,
Yeah.
you just gave me more money than I made on the show.
I'll take it. I'll take it all. That's crazy, though. He was just buying permission to keep roasting you. That's...
Yeah, I was letting it happen too. I was like, dude, I have a tiny dick. This guy's dick, this guy's dick is huge. Let it happen. Look at it. He's more expensive than I am. I don't know what that even means, but
Until I get that whole roll of hundreds,
I'm just gonna take him for his money, man.
just keep tossing them out there. I feel like there's something I should have brought up by now, but I haven't. What have I failed to think of anything that we should be talking about?
Landmass Comedy, right? It's on Facebook. Just follow that.
Yeah, Landmass Comedy, and then landmassentertainment.com has a list. That's when we have ticketed events, that's where we pop them up at.
Nice.
Landmasscomedy.com.
No, landmassentertainment.com. Somebody at some point took Landmass Comedy URL. I don't know who the fuck it was, but they did. So I think it was like a place in Wisconsin too. So I don't know.
Landmassentertainment.com.
.com, yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Well, is there anything you wanted to bring up, Krangus?
Nah, man. I mean, other than those sweet juicy balls.
Juicy fruit, baby. Juicy fruit.
You're next, governor.
What? No, I'm not going anywhere near those balls.
Hey, remember the we had a name for our tour when me and Martin went on tour. We had a name for it, and it was Prince or the Prince and Shrek. Shrek and the Prince. That was the name for our tour.
Nice.
I would have gone with Shrek and Lord Farquaad.
I like that better, actually. You're right.
Nice.
Some of you may die.
And good movie. All right, well, I can't think of anything else. I think we got most of the plugs in there. So say goodbye to the Facebook crowd. This will be up on YouTube in the next couple of days. And thanks for joining us.
Yep. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
You are gone, I think.
Yeah, I ended
Hey, when you guys...
ended the live stream in the video. Come
I was
on.
going to start making racist comments, so...
Nice.
Yeah.